Blues were formed as a cricket team at Holy Trinity Church. The church has a stained glass window of 28 saints, so we thought it'd be nice to actually think about 12 Blues apostles. Of the 12 we picked, 6 are no longer with us, but we thought it was important to tell their story. Frank Womack was a blues player who played for 20 years, from 1908 to 1928. He played 491 league games and numerous cup games. In all the games he played, he never scored a goal. But it's actually a bit stranger than that. Frank was 16 and had never played football. He lives in Sheffield, he's walking through a park in Sheffield, his friends are playing football. They're a player short. Frank, will you come and play football? So Frank did, and he played left back. And he found he was a really good left back. Within 3 years, he was playing for Blues.
A fabulous story about Frank is that Blues were due to play Grimsby. This was in 1912, I think. And he was in a snooker hall, and he was approached by a guy asking him to fix the game so that we could get a draw, which was odd. And Frank was offered 55 guineas. Frank turned it down, obviously, and reported it, and the guy got arrested. But the interesting thing is that the 55 guineas in today's money is £8,500. So Frank refused £8,500, comparable to today. So what a loyal man. He was also captain when we got promoted to the first division, as it was, in 1921. Great player.
Frank would obviously have missed some games during World War I. However, he still managed to play 491 league games. He had also played numerous friendlies. And to say that he was captain for 16 years, he really must have been some player. Joe Bradford played for Blues from 1920 to 1935. His first goal was against West Ham in 1920, and of his 250 goals, that was the only one that wasn't in the top flight. Joe was top scorer for 12 years, and in those 12 years scored 13 hat-tricks, and maybe his most important game was actually playing in the 1931 Cup final.
The overriding feeling from the family about Joe playing for Blues and representing England is just immense pride. My name is Lee Bradford, and my relation to Joe Bradford is that he was my great uncle. To have somebody in the family to represent the club, even your country, and play at that level and have that accolade given to them is just immense. And that was evident when we came and collected his FA legacy cap recently at the Blues, collecting it on behalf of the family and of Birmingham City as well. So yeah, really proud. So the one thing I'd like people to remember Joe for would probably be loyalty. So the fact that he stayed at the club for 15 years, was consistent, was leading goal scorer for that time, throughout that period, would mean that that record would never have been here, and we wouldn't be here sitting about talking about Joe as a legend as he is.
He's still the club record goal scorer. He scored nearly 250 league goals, but in total he scored 267 goals, which will never be beaten. Gil Merrick played from 1939 to 1960, made his debut in one game before World War II, then played his final game in one of the Intercities First Cup games in 1960. In all that time, he played 135 consecutive games in one period. But just to make it a bit different, during the season, after training sessions, he'd probably spend a lot of time teaching PE in schools. He also became Blues manager. In 1963, managed Blues to winning the League Cup against Aston Villa. And he was also manager in one of the Fairs Cup final matches. So quite a varied and long career.
It was just such a privilege to be in his presence. Gil was always great sense of humour. Interesting though, his career with Blues was designated by the fact that he was a teacher at a college called Greenmore. So if you talk to Alex Govan, as I did regarding the book, Alex said, well, we only ever saw him on a Monday and a Friday, and then for the football on the Saturday. And it was only because he was a goalkeeper that he could get away with that. And the other thing about Gil, which was great, Gil had 3 nicknames. One was Mr. 13, which he wasn't very happy with because of the goals he conceded against the Hungarians in '53. One was called Clutch, and that was a name he gave, I think, to himself because he could never understand why goalkeepers were starting to punch the ball instead of catching the ball. And his third one was Eccles, and that was when he was in the forces, based in Osborne Street. He would, on occasions, if he was particularly hungry, eat 10 Eccles cakes in one go. So 3 great nicknames for a great man. Tremendous times with Gil talking about them.
Gil, after leaving Blues as manager, never came back until he was 88. And when he was 88, he was nominated as Blues' best ever goalkeeper. So he came back to the club and received a 1 Merrick shirt on the side of the pitch and spent the rest of the season in a corporate box. Quite a nice ending. Geoff Hall played for Blues from 1950 to 1959. He won 17 England caps, was a really good player. In 1959, we're taken aback where something really out of the blue happened. Blues are playing away at Portsmouth. Geoff hadn't felt well for 4 or 5 days. The club felt he had flu. So he played the game, didn't play particularly well, and to get him home quickly, rather than come back on the team coach, he came back with the Birmingham press corps. When he got home, the club said to him, Geoff, don't come near the place until the flu's gone. 1 week goes, still got flu. 2 weeks go, he's still got flu. 3 weeks go, he's dead. This is the England fullback, and it looks like he's died of flu. The post-mortem, however, said it was polio, so panic breaks out. What then happens is, the Portsmouth ground is quarantined, as is the previous away game at Leicester, and there's no trace of polio. So the medics panic. They think it must be somewhere within Birmingham. We've got to stop it. How do we stop it? There was a vaccine, but it wasn't really used. It wasn't very popular, and there weren't great supplies of it. So to get the vaccine going properly, they had to bring in supplies from America, and eventually they thought of a way to vaccinate people that would perhaps vaccinate the whole population. They injected a sugar lump with the vaccine, and you ate the sugar lump. Well, to cut a very long story short, this wiped out polio worldwide in about 3 years.
By a strange coincidence, he set the tone for the National Health Service and its approach to disease. And Geoff's death was almost as relevant to the country as his playing time was for Blues.
What's also not really known of the time, the film Mary Poppins talks about a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. That was all due to Geoff Hall. So Geoff was really the man who saved the world. Alex Govan played for Blues from 1953 to 1958, scored 53 goals in 187 games. Something that is quite extraordinary was in one season he scored 5 hat-tricks. 3 of them were within 9 days. Now Alex was a very good player. He was called up for Scotland once, but he was not allowed to play the game because it coincided with Blues playing in a cup final.
With white-shirted Birmingham hot favourites against Manchester last year.
Alex Govan was a Scottish left winger and part of a team that was labelled the Brummie Bashers. And it was a team that there was never a lost cause for the ball. They were always going to win the ball. And we had players like Trevor Smith, Jeff Hall, who was also on the Apostles, Noel Kinsey, Gordon Astor, wherever we were in that 1954-55 side, we were Brummie Bashers. And they didn't like it. And of course, one of the things that Alex was involved with was the Keep Right On song.
And the major part of the Alex Govan story actually relates to the FA Cup run to get to Wembley. In the sixth round, Blues were playing away at Highbury against Arsenal. The team coach was caught in crowds of traffic and people. The coach really had stopped moving and the management team panicked. So the manager said, "Let's have a sing-song, lads." Alex started singing a song. The song was Keep Right On. The fans outside the coach could hear the song. When they got into the ground at Highbury, they sang the song. At Hillsborough for the semi-final, they sang the song. At Wembley, they sang the song. But in the Times newspaper report of the match, it stated that this was the first time ever that the fans of a league club had sang a particular song to their club.
Though the way be long, let your heart be strong, keep right on to the end. Though you're tired and weary, still journey on, till you come to your happy abode. We'll all, we'll be taken on, we'll be there at the end of the road.
Keep right on, Alex.
You know, I know it's been said so many times, but I don't think any player is worth 1 million.
Oh yes, 1 million. Says he's got to get one. He has. Bradwell, Francis. Beautiful set piece. Goal. And Trevor Francis gets the St Andrews fans cheering again.
Trevor Francis played for Blues for 9 years from 1970 to 1979. 280 games, nearly 120 goals.
He was like a superstar on the pitch. He was only young, but like he was a superstar. He was feted as a superstar wherever he went.
It was all about performance, and we saw that both on the pitch and off the pitch as a manager. Fabulous player, fabulous man.
When I hit the headlines in about 75, Trevor was already well established, of course. That's when I first met him, about 75, 76. And it was friendship straight away. But Trevor was gracious. He always had time for everybody, and he didn't have that much time because millions of people wanted to talk to him. But he was gracious with his time. He was gracious with his charitable contributions. And the man had class. Whatever you define that class to be, that's what he was.
He was an amazing, warm, friendly, generous, humorous. He was hilarious. Never told jokes, but he was a funny man. Funny man.
Well, anyone who knew him well would never have taken him for a footballer because he was very, very quiet. He was never, I suppose you could use the word flash. That's all. He was never flash. And bear in mind, if you went out to eat, you know, everywhere you went, people would want to shake hands, have a photo, and he was brilliant, you know. He never cut anybody off at all. He was a true personality.
If you ask the average Blues fan to pick his best Blues goal that was a Trevor goal, I think we've got hundreds of different opinions, but my opinions are a goal against Aston Villa in 1976, a header where Trevor leapt like a salmon and headed the ball into the railway end goal to beat Villa 3-2.
And you go, oh my God, what have we got here? This is something extra, ultra special.
For a smallish player, he had a lot of physicality, and people didn't realise that. You know, he didn't get pushed about, and he would leave people for dead. His speed was astronomical.
Trevor, of course, was also Blues manager. Managed Blues to 3 playoff semi-finals, all of which were defeats. And we then got to the Worthington Cup final in 2001 to play Liverpool. We lost, and it was, I think we all feel, an unfair result. But I think the picture a lot of us will keep in our minds is after the game finished, Trevor and young Andrew Johnson hugging and crying.
It absolutely hurt him and destroyed him mentally because he was so desperate to bring success to this football club. That's all he ever wanted to do, was to bring success. He had success elsewhere with other clubs. He went to FA Cup finals and stuff and League Cup. It didn't matter. This is where he wanted to bring success.
I think he'd like to be remembered as someone who tried his damnedest to be a really good person, good human being, generous, aware, but knowing that you have failings, and he tried his damnedest to get over his failings, as I do. Whether we have or whether we will, I don't know. But I think he'd like to be remembered as a bloody good bloke. Yeah, that's Trevor.
Warm man, you know. It's hard to explain to people who didn't know him how good he was, how close he was, how caring he was, how he was caring about you and about your family. You know what I mean? It was just a great man.
To me and to the people of Birmingham, he was a Birmingham legend, and that's what he was, and that's what he'll always be remembered as, a Birmingham legend.